Welcome to Godot Unscripted, a podcast of the Godot ecosystem. Tonight, we have the one and only Tim Krief, creator of multiple Godot games, and one recently published on Steam. Tim has years of Godot experience and calls himself a heavy Godot user. Please welcome Tim. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. What about you?
Doing fantastic now that you're here. And I gave you a small introduction, but could you please do one for yourself? Maybe I missed something.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Tim Krief. I've been using Godot for quite some time. I see a lot of people. I saw a lot of people saying like, "When is Godot 4 coming out?" I've been there enough time to see people asking for when Godot 3 is going to come out. So I started on Godot 2 in 2017, I think. So I'm a French indie dev. I'm also an engineer, but I want to be able to live from doing games and stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. And that's crazy. 2017, that's 8 years ago, almost a decade. Wait, so you're an engineer by day?
Yeah. So yeah. I've done all the studies. I have the diploma. I had the job offers for that role, and the kind of job offers didn't really match with what I wanted to do. When I think about what an engineer is supposed to do in a society, I don't think those roles are being like exist. We don't have like the public investments to push those roles. So you have a lot of private companies asking for engineers to do some sketchy stuff, and I'm not sure I want to do that. And for the roles I would want to do, that you have really not a lot of roles, and it's hard to get a job like that, and you are not really well paid and stuff like that.
Nice, I respect that.
Right now.
And it gives you the space to make games, right?
Yeah, but honestly, it will be easy to just start voting for parties that plan to, for instance, finance ecological transition for all the energy sector and stuff like that. And once that's done, I'm sure a lot of engineers like me that would just want to be like real engineers, and not like work for 5 years on the ergonomics of the interior of a luxury car or something like that. You know?
Yeah, it sounds a lot better, a lot more useful to the world.
Exactly. Yeah, until that kind of roles are easily accessible for engineers where I am right now, I'm just going to make fun stuff that will not hurt people.
That's a dream. I wish I could do that. Well, wait, let's go back. How did you start with games? What was the first game you ever played that made you fall in love with games?
What's the first game? I'm not sure I can be able to remember the first game. I've been playing games since like I cannot remember. I was a kid and we were playing Mario Kart 64, you know. So I'm not sure I can remember the first game, but the first game that made me think, hey, I could do that. The first game that made me think I could do that is an arcade game called Tower of Draga. I don't know if you know that one.
No clue. I'm looking it up right now.
The original Tower of Draga, because they made some other games. The original arcade game. I did not play the original arcade game. I played it in a compilation on DS, on Nintendo DS, Namco Museum or something like that. And this game, it's the first time I was like, people made this. Like actual people made this game, because until then games felt magical to me and felt like they existed on their own. You know, like I was a kid. Of course, it was made by people, but it was hard to grasp because you have like when you play Ocarina of Time and you're in a literal world and you don't have any technological knowledge yet, so you don't really know how they are able to do that. This game was quite simple but really enticing to me. So it's the first time I was like, wait, people made this and it seems possible to do it. So I'm sure I could do that if I really focus. And it gave me the will to try.
I mean, you are doing it, right? That's super cool. But wait, let's not jump ahead. And let's jump ahead a little bit though. When did you start making games?
It's okay. So it depends what you call games. Because the first thing I tried doing, my origin story, let's say, it's web development. The first thing I made was web pages. The first time I right clicked on a website and clicked on view page source when I was 12 or something, I was like, wait, you can actually write code that create the page that we see? And the first time I created a .html myself, like I was like, okay, I'm opening the notepad on my EEE PC on Windows 7 or something. And I open the notepad and just write like copy paste stuff I see on the web, HTML tags, and I name the file index.html, and then I can just click on that thing and it opens a web page, and I'm like, wait, did I just make a website right now? It was really empowering at the time. So yeah, I started making little web pages like that. I had no clues how to make stuff interactive. So at one point I wanted to make a game, but I didn't know how to. So I started making a lot of pages and links between pages. So a bit like write your own adventure, like the books where you're the hero, where you can go to page 10 to choose your adventure. Exactly. So I started making stuff like that with web pages and links, and I'm like, wait, but if for each state of the player I need to create a new web pages, and because I didn't know how to make things interactive, dynamic, it was only static web pages. So the first thing I started to look for is how do I make my web pages dynamic. So the first real programming language I learned was PHP, and it opened a lot of possibilities to me, because I was like, wait, I can do, that's it, I can do whatever I want. I'm God. I'm God on my computer. I can make buttons, and then it will create a page right there dynamically. And it's the first time I discovered loops, conditions, the basis, for programming. And believe it or not, but so the question was the first game. Believe it or not, but the first game was a dungeon. The old dungeon crawlers where it's a first-person perspective. It looks 3D, but it's just each time you press a button, it will recreate visually the perspective, not using any ray tracing or anything like that. Just logically, like you see a wall on your left, stuff like that.
Sprites.
I did this in PHP. Each time you press the button, it sent a request to the server that was creating a picture and sending it back to you. So I made a crappy dungeon crawler in PHP at the time, with maze generation and everything. And I was pretty proud of it when it was running on my computer. Then I tried to let other people try it, and I never accounted for the time, the ping time it will, the time it will ask for the server. So it was a really bad experience.
Oh my god, it sounds like an amazing first time experience for developing a game, like the journey from web development into interactive websites into a game.
Yeah, and then I'm always reluctant to try new technologies because I'm like, hey, it's working. What I'm doing is working right now. Why should I try another language and stuff like that? And each time I will hit a wall hard, and I will be like, okay, maybe I need to learn something else because it's not working. And that was the point where I was like, okay, I want to make ambitious stuff. This is not working. PHP will not make me able to do video games. So that's when I went and did some C++ at the time.
Oh my god. Okay, so then C++. And what came first, itch.io or your journey into Godot?
Yeah, so that's funny because the first game I made on itch.io, I put on itch.io is a web game made entirely in JS, native JavaScript, no library at all. It's called Lost in Space. You can play it in your browser. I think it's a pretty fun game. Some people liked it at the time, and I put that on itch.io I think it was in 2017, and yeah, so I put that on itch.io, got some feedback, and then I started, when I was on itch.io, I started joining game jams. Yeah, game jams. I started joining game jams, and I really wanted to force me into learning a new technology. So I joined a game jam. I think it was 2 weeks game jam, and I decided to use Godot at that time. And I was like, I don't know anything about Godot, but at the end of the game jam, at least I will be able to do stuff. The game I made for this game jam is something.
Okay.
It's called Stay on Board.
Oh, yes, with the ship. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something. But it was the first time I was making a 3D game. So it was I was like, okay, that's it. We're making 3D games now.
And in Godot, and in 2017.
Yeah, I made a 3D game with Godot in 2017. So anyone that's saying you cannot Godot is not 3D, it's been 3D since 2017.
Oh my, and I love the catchline. This game features motion sickness without even using VR. Oh,
yeah, you have to be self-deprecating at some point.
I mean, I love it. That's how you grow, right? All the experience and all the games I see on the Edge is crazy. So before we talk about a fallacy quiz in Crafty County, I want to talk about one game that is not listed here, which is Octahedron. You posted a lot about it on Reddit, and I think you had a Steam page, and you changed it to something else. But what happened with that game? It looks so good.
No, it never had a Steam page. It doesn't have a Steam page yet. I'm not sure how to handle that game. So that's so as you just said, you grow, you get experience and stuff like that. And one how do you say that? The all the marketing side, all the promotion marketing side of the thing wasn't really in my mind when I started my first big projects, Crafty County and Octahedron. And honestly, I'm not sure how to market this game. That's the big issue for me. I really like the game. I really like the mechanics. The thing is, the mechanics is a bit peculiar. That's not something you see in any game. So I cannot just say, hey, that's something you've never seen before, and people will want to play it, because nowadays you have to tell people, hey, it's like Elden Ring but with vampires, or I don't know, like you combine genre to explain your game. I have a hard time explaining Octahedron. For people listening, I have to explain what Octahedron is right now. So here's my pitch, and it's a bit, you're going to see how hard it is. So it's a game where you are an octahedron, and your goal is to go from dimension to dimension using a movement system where you have to choose between 6 axes each time you want to move, and you can slow down time to make your decision. I don't know how to explain it easily and for it to sound enticing.
I mean, you just made it sound cool as shit. Traversing dimensions, slowing down time. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I hope it could work, but I don't see people like you're one of the first one asking me where is the game. It was featured in the last year's showcase for Godot, and you're one of the first one asking me where the game is. So I don't see excitement about the game. So it's hard to continue in that direction if you don't have a plan. I don't want to abandon the project. It's pretty advanced. Maybe I will put it, if I find some time, I put it in a beta on itch.io maybe to get feedback from users. But do you see what I mean?
I know what you mean, but that's really hard as an indie developer, right? Even a lot of smaller games before the release, like, really don't gain traction. It's more about
yeah,
it's a difficult situation. I understand.
And the thing is, we're going to talk about fallacies later, but there's the sunk cost fallacy. Should I really continue working on this game just because I invested so much before on it?
Ah, I see. So your fallacy quiz is coming into play already. So there you were, developing Octahedron and Craft County at the same time. When did you decide, I should stop both of these games and start a new game called Fallacy Quiz?
First, let's say that any game dev will at some point tell themselves, let's start a new project in the middle of their existing ones. But more seriously, it's happened by accident, because I've been on, like, I've released one free app on the Google Play Store in 2016 or something. It was just to try it out, and I never interacted with the Google Play Store after that. But I received a mail telling me we are going to deactivate your account because of your inactivity. So I was like, wait, how could I just prevent that? Because I don't want to reactivate it later. I don't know what it means. Maybe I have things to pay if I want to be a Google Play developer later, or stuff like that. So I was like, I could make a fun project, like if it was a game jam in 1 month or something, and release a little game on Android, a little quiz game. The thing is, it kind of spiraled out of this, because, as I said, there was interest for this game. I started working on Fallacy Quiz. I started talking about it, and I actually saw people saying it's a good idea. I want to try this game. I want to, So it's the first time where I really had a feedback from people saying what I'm making, saying that's cool. So you don't. I think when you have opportunities like that, you don't say like, no, my plan was to make just an Android app, so that's just what it's going to be. I decided, wait, since people seem to like the concept, and I also like working on it, let's make it a real thing.
That makes sense. And why did you choose fallacies out of everything as a theme of the game?
So at the time, I was getting, I was trying to, and I was reading all the fallacies and stuff like that for my own. Like I wanted to create content about it on my other channels, and because I really think it's a big topic. I really think we live in an era of like the famous post truth era. People call it like that, where it feels like there's a lot of misinformation in the media coverage, in what people are saying, and it's at a point where I think a lot of people do not even purposefully use fallacies. They are so trained into listening to fallacies that they think it's correct reasoning, and I think it should be like in our school system and stuff like that. We should learn about all that stuff, because I think if we don't have correct reasoning, we are going to have issues in our life, in all our different parts of our life, because we can so easily be manipulated by people if we don't know about that kind of stuff. A lot of people have to deal with toxic relationships before they even start looking into that kind of stuff. People have to live traumatic experience before understanding what's happening to them. So I think it will be better to learn about that kind of stuff in a fun quiz game on your free time, instead of learning it the hard way, wasting 20 years of your life being committed in a job, or in a relationship, or in a cult.
That's true. I like that. It's a really how should I put it, noble pursuit, and I think it also translates well to the game, right? It has 30 reviews on Steam, and they're all positive. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's so cool.
How was preparing for the release and releasing the game like? It's the first game you release on Steam, right?
Yes, that's the first time I released a game on Steam. It was really interesting. The game was almost done in August. It had all the features I wanted in August of 2024. It lacked some content, so I spent maybe a month adding content to the game to be sure people will not have a lot of repeating questions in the quiz. Today it has 200 questions in the game, so I think it's pretty good. So maybe you can account for 1 month for that. So maybe it took me 3 months to get the game on Steam, ready for Steam. So it's just to give you an idea of the work needed, not to put the game on Steam, but also to learn how all of this works. I also wanted to put it on Steam, but really integrate it into Steam, use all the Steam features I could use. So for instance, the game supports Steam Input, the game support the cloud save system, the game support the Steam Deck. It has been Steam Deck verified, so that's pretty cool. So all that kind of stuff adds a lot, especially the having achievements in the game. I was like, people on Steam might be used to have achievements in the game. So adding achievements to the game was a bit of work, because you have to add some logic in the game to make it work.
I wanted to ask, what was the total development time? Because it seems that it went by quite quick. So you said August, feature complete, and then the rest of the time was getting it ready for Steam. But how long did the actual development of the game take?
Yeah, so the game, I started working on the game almost 1 year ago, beginning of February. The first commit in my repo is January 30. So like really end of January. Then I had the game in early access available on itch in March. So it's like two months or something for the game to be available on itch in early access, but it didn't add all the features. It was just, at the time, it was just a quiz. There was nothing else. You have one quiz and that's it. There were no definitions. There were no settings, features. It was bare bone
gameplay, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. And then I think then I decided to add definitions to polish the game. It took me three more months. I added multiplayer. So yeah, until August. I think you can remove 1 month where I wasn't working on the game for 1 month. But apart from that, I think it took me until August to have the game. Maybe, if you account for the content added to the game, September, something like 9 months, I will say, 8 or 9 months for the game.
Nice.
If you don't account for Steam.
Yeah, and this was while you were working in parallel on Craft County, or no? Was it just Fallacy?
No. Yeah, I was focused on this game alone for that period of time.
What would you say is your, looking back, the favorite thing about the game that you have, and something you could have done better?
I think there's in the game there's a book, a virtual 3D book to show all the definitions of the fallacies. And at the time, I was like, the decision for making it was like, I'm going to have people read in a game, and I personally never read anything I see in a game. Or maybe like when you're playing a RPG and you find the book of the law and you're like, okay, maybe one day we'll read it, and you don't really read it. That's how I do that. So I was like, if I need people to read this, it has to be fun. So I spent a lot of energy making that book visually impressive and UI wise interesting to use. You actually flip the pages when you play the game and you want to check the definitions in the book. The game actually freeze and the game zoom out of a computer monitor in the game itself, as if you were playing the game on the monitor in the game, and then you look at the book on your desk, so it adds to the immersion. So when I was making it, a lot of people were telling me, "Wait, you're spending a lot of time and energy on this thing. Why are you spending so much time on this?" And I think today I can say that this is the part I'm the proudest for, because this is what people actually remember from the game, and this is what people tell me about when I talk about the game. It's the same thing for the illustrations in the game. I spent a lot of time making it look like it was little paper pieces, and you're like, wait, but the game is a quiz about fallacies. Why are you working on the shader of a paper? But I think if you need a quiz about anything, I'm sure people made that kind of stuff on a crappy website filled with ads somewhere, and you can find it. I'm making this game so that people will be interested into taking the quiz. When they will not be interested into doing that if there was not that work put into the illustrations, the book, and stuff like that.
Absolutely agree with that. It has such a unique feeling to you. I'm happy to hear that.
And for the part what was the other question? The part I'm not regret.
So something you think you could have done better, or something you regret?
Something I think I could have done better. I would say the marketing part. I never did this before. I see people getting their game talked about on on video game websites, and I don't know what are who should I contact, where should I send my press kit. I made a press kit. I don't know where to send it to so that people can actually read it. And so yeah, this part I still need to learn how it's working. And I also, like, what I want to do is make games, so it's also, every time I spend time trying to market and promote the game, I'm like, when can I make games again?
I feel that in my soul, man. Oh, we got a little bit of time left, so I just want to hear from you quickly a little bit about Craft County, your development journey so far.
So why do you want to talk about Crafty County, the Crafty County game?
No, because I see it on Steam, and I'm assuming it's your next game, right?
It might not be my next game.
Oh, okay. I see. I thought because it was on Steam, that it was almost there.
Yeah, so Crafty County, it has a Steam page. It's the first page for one of my game I created on Steam. The thing is, there's this viability thing that I kind of take into account now, because I want to have my making game as my job. So I need to think about how do I make that viable. And the thing is, when I put Crafty County on Steam, I did not get a lot of wish lists on that game. This game does not have a lot of wish lists. So again, yes, I invested a lot of work on Crafty County. I really like this project. A lot of people like this project too. But I know that if I want to make it work as I would want it to be, because I don't want to just simplify the concept and get it out for the sake of getting it out. I'm not here to make to like pump out games like this. I don't want to just compromise the idea behind a project just to get it out and be like, yes, now it's out, now I can do something else. The completion in itself is not a goal for me. The fact that I can say that's it, it's out, is not a goal for me. My goal is to make the game I have in my head. I want to make this game. And for this game to be made, I need to invest a lot of time and effort. I know that Crafty County, to make it interesting, I need a big variety of models and in the game that I have to make myself, because you cannot just dump a lot of assets, flip or stuff like that, because each model in this game has a significance. As the way the game works it's a bit like a city builder, where you merge buildings to create new buildings. So I have to think about all the possible buildings I want to have available in the game, and it's a lot of work. I know it's a lot of work. So if I want to work on this game, I know that maybe 1 or 2 years of my life will be this project. And when you see that you don't even have 1,000 wish lists, even if the game was as a Steam page for more than a year, it doesn't feel viable,
Yeah, I completely understand.
I don't want to abandon this project, but at this stage, maybe later on, when maybe I have a reputation, maybe at that time I can reinvigorate the project, like relaunch it and see if people are more interested at that point.
Yeah, I agree with you. Nonetheless, I found it pretty respectable. I mean, maybe instead you could work on Daedalus Demise episode 3.
Okay. So Daedalus Demise was a fun project, because it was at that time where I was working on Crafty County, I was working on Octahedron, and I was not getting games out. I was not actually releasing games, and it felt bad, because when you work on stuff for 2 years and you don't have any feedback, you don't have any like positive reinforcement, like this is working, it feels pretty bad. So at the time I decided, can I get a game out actually? So I tried to make Diddle's Demise in 1 week at the time, without crunching, like without making it too hard for me. Like it was only a 45 hours work week, and I did it. I released the game at the time, and after that I was interested in making a more spooky sequel for, I think it was not like the 2023 Halloween, and I released it. But I don't think I'm going to work on this more than this. What I'm working on right now, I don't want to tell too much, but I will have more info at the end of the month. I know exactly what I want to work on. I think it's going to work out, because it's going to be, I will be able to get part of the game out early, some parts of the game out early, so that I can have people try it.
I'm looking forward to that. All right, we are almost at time, and I have one last question for you, Tim. What advice would you give to those out there listening to this podcast right now?
Oh, okay. I think if I have one advice to give, it's really think, like, don't think that it's going to be your main job fast. I think some people get it. It works for some people because they have a hit, but I cannot. I will have a hard time recommending indie game development as a path, a serious path for making a living right now. I think if you are interested in indie game development, you should do that. You should try to make games, and I think it's a really fun endeavor. But I would not recommend making like crazy investment into this. I have. There's a lot of sacrifice you have to make. If I don't know what's your situation, people listening right now, I don't know what's your situation right now, but I can tell that for me, I have to make a lot of sacrifice to be able to make games, and I'm barely able to make it right now. I hope in the future I will be able to make a living out of this, but right now it's complicated. And what's pretty crazy is it's a lot of work with a lot of different roles you have to have. Like I did apart from the music, I did everything on Fallacy Quiz: the content, the art, the code, the game design, the publishing, promoting, marketing. All you have to do all of that. It requires a lot of like, to stand out. It requires a lot of skill, and in the end, you don't even you are not assured to even have even recoup what you invested into it. So I know it's a bit pessimistic, but I don't want people to go into it because they are pumped about the idea that they could, about money. I feel bad about a lot of people offering courses and using the perspective where, hey, you could make it as a game developer and start earning money and stuff like that, using this to sell courses, I feel pretty bad about this, because I feel like it's, the gold rush, when people were selling shovels, and they were the ones getting rich, not the people trying to find gold.
Yeah, classic. Sell shovels during the gold rush.
Yeah, it feels a bit like that. So, yeah, if it's fun to you, go into it, but don't quit your job right now.
That's the most important thing. If it's fun to you, and don't quit your job. Everybody needs to eat. Tim, that's a good note to end on. So thank you so much. But before we go, please plug your stuff. Where can we support you? Where can we follow you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. So my game is out right now on Steam and itch.io. It's called Fallacy Quiz. I have the website fallacyquiz.com, so you can go there and check the Steam or itch page. I also have a press kit if you want to write about it, or invite me to your own podcast, I guess. I'll be glad to talk to you about the game. I also have, for people who want to support me, I also have a Patreon page. And yeah, follow me on, I guess, on Blue Sky, Mastodon, YouTube, Twitch, all the places. My name is Tim Krief. I have a website, timkrief.com. Maybe you can check all my links there. It will be easier.
For sure. I'll definitely link that in the description. Then,
nice.
Thank you so much for your time. And thank you to everyone who stopped by to listen today. This was Godot Unscripted. Cue free.
So you can hear me?
Hey, now I can hear you, yes.
Yes! Let's go!
Hi, okay, we got this. We got this.
We can do this!
We can do this. I will include this after the actual recording, so people know how much we struggled with.
No. You have to make it seem like it was flawless.
Exactly. But after the outro, just like, oh my God.